52 now. Wonderful from Tamim Iqbal to pick up the first wicket. It was Shariful Islam who picked up his first one-day international wicket. And since then, both of these batsmen have looked quite comfortable. And it's all about the top order getting in and then making sure that they have partnerships. 45 for 1 after the end of the 11th over. A lot of batting to come, Mazhar. Kushal Mendes, Dhananchaya, Sanaka, but it all depends on the men in the middle.
The early wicket has been the problem for Sri Lanka in the first game, and the lack of partnerships actually forced them to eventually lose the game, where Hasaranga eventually played a very good knock, but still it was not enough. So they need to lay the platform from right at the up of the order. Both the batsmen looked really good now, but they need to build a partnership. On the other hand, Bangladesh will be desperate to pick up yet another wicket. This partnership is growing dangerously.
Yeah, what was missing from Sri Lankan batsmen, the top order, that nobody went on to score the top 7. Hasaranga did come in and he belted 74 of just 60 deliveries. But before him, none crossed over to even 50. The highest was 30. That was from Kushal Perera. So it's important that when you do get a start, and we look at Gunathilaka, who's on strike, is on 20 now. So it's important for him to convert those 20s into a big one and carry the responsibility on his shoulder rather than looking for someone else to do the job for them. And that's why I keep on saying over and over again, it's the men in the middle who matters the most. Yes, you spoke about the partnership. Now it's 22 of 35. But they've got to carry on for a longer period of time.
I'd like to see Tamim Iqbal to go and attack a bit. Yeah, good to see a slip fielder for Nisanka now. There's a bit of dilemma for Captain Tamim whether to attack or defend those runs as well.
If you look at the field, he's got what, 4 fielders on the offside inside the circle. There are 2 on the onside. That's 6 fielders inside the circle. But what it does is for the batsman, since there's a left and right hand combination, there's always an opportunity for the batsman to play with softer hand and try to look to pick up singles. A couple of boundaries for both these batsmen, but they're quite keen to rotate the strike. So a lot depend on where the bowlers bowl, and that's a very good area. nothing much the batsman can do, but just play a defensive shot.
That was a signature cutter from Mustafizur Rahman, Nisanka, indicating to his partner that he read that slower ball. Mustafiz has developed the back of a hand delivery as well. I've seen him bowl that quite frequently during the Indian Premier League this season.
Yeah, when he came onto the scene, hardly anybody picked him up. He was devastating with the ball initially. But the more he started to play, the more players had a closer look at what he was doing. So as a bowler, you've got to start to develop different skills. And then that's the skill that you're talking about. So it's important for someone like Mustafizur Rahman to keep developing different kind of skills to make life difficult for the batsman. Remember, in these conditions, is good for batting. Very good for batting. So you've got to try different variety. And he's shown that he has got a lot. Good over. Just a 3 in that over. 48 for 1.
Thank you. কাকে আস্তে করলে ভালো ভাইয়া উপরে থাকিস চল মিরাজ তোর উইকেট এটা গুড মিরাজ সাবিত ভালো ভালো ভালো
Gets past the fielder at cover, so it'll be an easy single. Already 1 down in the series, so it's a must-win situation for Sri Lanka to stay alive in the series. And when you see 2 batsmen getting set, then it raised the hopes. And the batsman padded up in the dressing room will be feeling a little bit more comfortable. Surely they would want to see one of them go really big here. Out, he's appealing. Looking at the keeper, maybe just sliding down the leg side.
Two more dot, boys.
That's very good bowling from Medias and Miraj. Initially it looked it's shading down the leg side.
Save it, Afif, good. Great bowling, man. Lovely dots, good boys, good boys.
But this is a much better effort from the Sri Lankan batsman. Yes, definitely going down the leg side. They were in a serious problem because in that first match they were 5 for 97 in quick time. Half of the side was already back in the hut. There's certainly a much better effort again. To the leg side, but good fielding and restricting the batsman for only a single.
It's a good over so far from Medias and Miraj, only 2 runs, and that's the area he's been working over the past few years now. Try to be more economical, not think about wickets rather than contain the runs and force the batsman to make mistakes and buy those wickets. That's what he did in the previous game. And I like to see a slip fielder for him, for the left-hander.
Drop him!
50 comes up with that single. 51 for 1 after 13.
সামনে করলে নিচে মারলে ফিল্ডার আছে আর বলতে মারে
51 for 1. Sri Lanka. Tilaka hasn't got going the way he did in the first one-day international, but a good start for Sri Lanka. Oh, that's well bowled. Nicely bowled by Mustafiz. It's gone through nicely to the keeper. There's been a few that have done that this evening. As I say, good evening to Roshan Abhisinghe for the first time today and the first time in the series.
I beg your pardon, I've been here. I was here during the first game. I commentated in the morning or afternoon. What do you mean first time?
You didn't commentate with me, Roshan.
Okay. All right. Say so, now I understand. Very good evening, Tino. Good evening to everybody. Yeah, it's a good fight. Sri Lanka gradually mounting a fight. And what is good to see is the approach of young Pathum Nissanka. Felt that he was a bit hasty in that first game. He was looking to take on the bowling, play a few shots. But here the approach is very different. Typical number 3 that he's trying to be the anchor that the others are trying to bat around. And that has to be his role here. And also the surface we're looking at, you know, is not, it's not a belter, isn't it? Where the batsmen can just go and express themselves. It's not possible. It's more of a, it's more of a pitch that you need a very measured approach, where you need to build an innings, you need to pace an innings. And you've seen the difficulties batsmen have faced. But having said that, I wonder whether the rain has freshened up things a bit. The ball appears to be coming on a little bit quicker. There is a bit more bounce for the faster bowlers. But generally, the Sri Lankan batsmen like the ball on the bat. They tend to work with the pace, so that's interesting. There's a lot of work left, obviously. Could be tight. Pathum Nissanka was looking for that run. And a direct hit would have been very interesting. But in the process, they steal an overthrow.
He was nicely weighted for that. Just opened the face. Would have been trouble had that been a slightly more accurate throw. But what I want to talk about, which I really like from what I've seen, is Nissanka. I haven't seen a lot of him. But the little bit that I saw, even in that first game, shows that he's a guy who can play. He's got the strokes, and as you say, a little bit rash from him in that first game. But he looks like he's got a good technique, strikes the ball well, and all he really needs to do is what he's done so far today. Give himself an opportunity at the beginning of the innings. He certainly looks like he's got all the shots in the book, but you can't play every shot in the book as soon as you walk out. You've got to wait for the right opportunity to do that. As we saw with Mushfiqur Rahim this afternoon and in the first game. Got to his half century with just one boundary. Only started to play bigger shots later on in the innings.
Mushfiq's 2 innings in this series has been a great education for anybody watching as to how one could construct an innings. And particularly from 2 pretty difficult situations that Bangladesh were faced with. 74 for 4, 99 for 4. Goes square down to the point man, and it's taken on the boundary. Well. At a time when Sri Lanka could ill afford a wicket, Danushka Gunatilaka finds the lone man on the point boundary. That is a massive blow for Sri Lanka.
Oh, he'll be disappointed here. He's got himself going again into the 20s, and he's hit that straight down the throat to the man in the boundary. Could have hit that anywhere he wanted over that offside, and what he's done is picked the sole fielder out there. He has to go for 24. Danushka Gunatilaka, Sri Lanka 53 for 2. And as he walks off the field, the players will take a drink.
Chalo boys. 3 and 4 boys. Let's your dot balls here, lads. 2-3 well, lads. Let's your dot balls, boys.
So, 53 for 1 becomes 53 for 2 after 14 overs. The exit of Danushka Gunatilaka heralds the entrance of Kusal Mendes. 78 matches, one of the more experienced players in this side, an average of 30, 17 half centuries to go with 200s. He looked in decent nick in that first one-day international until this man, Shakib Al Hassan, got the better of him. 211 matches. Look at those number of wickets. 267. Best of 5 for 29.
Boss, brilliant start. Well grip, one will skip.
Another look.
Good check,
Danushka Gunatilaka will be pretty disappointed. Just
Good
found that
chance.
sole man on the boundary. That deep point. It was short and wide outside the off stump. He had the option
Right, boy. Great start, boys.
of going between third man and point, but found the fieldsman on the point boundary. Quick single here. Interesting to look at the way and the speed Shakib would bowl. Will he look to try and skid on? Another look. This was bouncing short and wide. Well, he would have hoped to have timed it a little bit better. Could have cleared the ropes. But what would be Shakib's approach? Because
sticky boy.
he did get a fair bit of spin earlier on in that first game on that surface, but it's pretty different this one. The ball sliding on it. We haven't really seen the pitch slowing down as it did in the first game. So there was more guile, there was a little bit more energy in the bowling. Bowling it into the air the last game, but how would he do it here? Would he be looking to hit the pad? Would he be looking to bowl more the arm ball, skid on?
I definitely reckon those first two that you mentioned, looking to hit the pad, looking the ball to get to skid on. The surface will be greasy.
Oh,
With a little bit of rain that was there.
That's you,
And
that's you,
most definitely will be
that's you, boy.
looking to get the ball to go on with the arm. And he's very good at that.
One more dot, Shaq.
Also expect him just to hold some of them back. Maybe won't take as much turn, but he won't be afraid to give it a little bit of air. 55 for 2. $55 for 2. Shariful has been impressive. His 4 overs have gone for 13 and just the sole wicket. So we talked about the surface slowing up in the first game. It's been very different today. This has all happened since the rain delays, where the ball's just got a little bit greasy, the surface is skidding on, and the seamers have caused quite a fair bit of problems for the batsmen. And that only started happening after the rain delay. Covers going on and off 2 or 3 times, and that's just aided the seamers. Earlier on today we were talking, Roshan, about in that first game that there were some puffs of dust that were happening later on in the game. And that's been the difference coming into today. I think easier for the batsman when the ball comes onto the bat, but it's also just provided a bit of extra pace.
There's certainly extra pace, there's no doubt. Quick run here. And Kusal Mendis is on his way. Extra pace, more bounce. The sickening blow that Saifuddin had earlier on of Dushmanta Chamira, who bowled with a lot of pace, and then Tuskin. He looked nasty, particularly one delivery to Dhanush Gurtilaka. Was pretty lucky that it was not reviewed because it appeared to have brushed the glove. But it's the pace, it was pretty ferocious. Shot and swung away in front of square. Only a single. In that first game, Sri Lanka got into a bit of a shell with 2 wickets lost, and there were lots of dot balls that were played, and I thought that singles and rotation of the strike was found wanting. Now this is something that the Sri Lankan shouldn't do at this moment, because Kusal Mendis just in, Nisanka 17 of 29, he's not really in as yet, so shouldn't really let the Bangladesh bowlers dictate as much as they did in that first game, which made Sri Lanka panic to a sense and lose wickets until Hasaranga just came out and played the dream innings. So very, very important that this partnership kicks on and the rotation of strike happens, and you just don't allow bowlers to dictate terms. You allow Shakib to do that, he'll be all over you, and that's what Sri Lanka needs to try and avoid and overcome.
I think what might make it easier for them is the discussion we had in that first over of Shakib's, is that he's probably not going to be able to get the purchase that he did the other evening. So the ball's likely going to be going on with the arm more than anything else. Because of the greasy nature of the surface, they can afford to play him almost like a medium pacer. But he's full of trickery. He will toss one up. He will bowl from a meter back at the crease. So that they need to watch out for. Four from the over. 59 for 2.
चलो भाई चलो भाई चलो भाई वन फ्रॉम হিয়ার মিরাজ কথা বলো ভাইয়া একটু তুমি মাঝখানে আসো একটু চাঙ্গা রাখো সরি
188 still needed. 34 overs.
আরো
And
এদিকে আরো
rates
এদিকে
just gone up slightly.
আরেকটু এদিকে ডান
5.53.
হ্যাঁ একটু
This
এদিকে
is
থাকিস
that
একটু এদিকে
period
থাকিস
you were making mention to, isn't it, Roshan? Where,
ব্রিলিয়ান্ট
they just dug themselves into a bit of a hole in that first one-day international. Then they lost a couple of wickets. And it became a problem from there. In the air, there's a man who's back on the boundary. One bounce. To Mossadegh Hussain Shoykot.
Well, very nearly. But that's all right. Pathum Nissanka needs to pounce on anything loose. He just can't afford
coming our way
to just keep playing dot balls. He needs to be aggressive also, which is all right as long as he picks his spots. That was a little bit too close for comfort. See, one thing, Tino, is that the target or what is required at the moment, 187 of 33.4, 5.5 weight, is not an issue. It's about getting close and getting to a position. Now that is gone high. How high has it gone? High enough. 6. Kusal Mendes pouncing on a full toss. Very, very important and good to do that. Punish the loose ball. Make maximum when the opportunity persists or permits.
Just a 7th delivery. And he's just stretched because he's seen that that ball's dipping on him. But he got enough on it to get the 6.
So that should be Sri Lanka's approach. It's not about just hitting sixers or fours, but it's about just being a little bit busy, getting singles, and counter-punching bowlers like that. 8 runs in the over. 67 for 2.
Center. Only change, right him over.
Sri Lanka trying to bat themselves into a position of authority. Two very good players at the crease. And you'll feel, Roshan, that Kusal Mendes is going to have to put in a good number today if they're going to get close.
He will have to, because the point is he's been given that extra responsibility. Well, this is how he pounced on a full toss. He's generally very good with the slog sweep or going over that mid-wicket area. That's his place, that's his area that he enjoys a lot. But yeah, he has to step up. He has to really lead now. The captain's gone, Gunathilaka's gone. So as the vice captain of the side, he needs to really start to control things. But he also needs to understand the type of surface he's on. It's not about just looking to dominate, it's about building an innings. It's about playing yourself out of a pressure situation. And to do that, this partnership needs to kick on. They just need to extend this a little bit. Partnerships are so important, which was exactly what Sri Lanka lacked amongst the top 6 or 7 in that first game, which made them pay a pretty heavy price.
Tuskin has been a lot more impressive for me today, Roshan, and I just wonder for the fact that he had been left out originally and then now has got an opportunity with the ball, that's just spurred him on a little bit. He would have known why he was left out of the side today. Really struggled with the ball in that first match. But, his performance in that first match and today so far has been chalk and cheese.
I think it's a perfect motivation for him. But Tamim Iqbal said it was a strategic decision, but even a strategic decision, you don't want to be left out. You want to be in that side. So he's got a point to prove. He's got a second opportunity, so he's come in and you could see the determination when he was given to bowl, how he ran in, bent his back. And in fairness, he had a decent surface to bowl on, where there was a lot of pace and bounce, but you still got to bowl on it.
I thought you were going to say he's got a second bite at the cherry. Because the way he's bowled so far, he hasn't bitten it, he's literally swallowed it.
I very nearly said that. But instead I opted for something else. I picked another word to try and describe it, rather than a second bite of a cherry.
You do have a wide vocabulary, Mr. Abhisinghe. It's a good over. Another one from Tuskin Ahmed this evening. Just 3